Hey guys, welcome back to the Evergreen RX. I'm your host Hayden, licensed mental health therapist, Cancer Moon, and the first to get deep at any party. Welcome to the last episode of season 5. Woo! And my 99th episode. Doesn't look like it's 99 in the title, but that's because I did 22 episodes of mini doses way back when I used to do mini doses and I numbered them differently. So just ignore that. But this is my 99th. And I believe I will be coming back in between seasons with a very special 100th episode. So be sure to follow along for that. It is an accomplishment and one that I'm trying to not let just go right over my head, because that kind of feels like how it is. I'm just like, oh yeah, 100 episodes, cool, whatever. And then actually I saw a post from the Pajama Party, who Remy Ramirez is the host of that podcast, and I had her on for an episode earlier in the season, and I saw her post going to a dinner with her friends to celebrate her 100th podcast episode. She had balloons that said 100, and it dawned on me that that's something that someone would maybe celebrate. And so I'm celebrating, and I'm celebrating with you guys, and I'm even celebrating 99 because why not? And as a season finale, as the special significance of this episode, in honor of that, I am diving into a little bit about my own personal growth journey and where I'm at in it right at this very moment. It just felt relevant and fun. I think I've done this on seasons in the past too, where I like to make that last one a little bit special and reflective and vulnerable, kind of sharing with you guys what is going on for me and how I'm, kind of in process with things. I think it also serves as a nice time capsule for, down the road, coming back, maybe a day that I feel that I haven't grown, or, if I'm being hard on myself, feel like I haven't changed, then I could come back and listen to it and see, oh yeah, things are changing. Sometimes it's slow and it's hard to notice as it's bit by bit over time. I deal with that a lot, in therapy, with people coming in being like, why have I not, I've been in therapy for a year and I don't feel like I've changed at all, and being hard on themselves. And then we actually will look back and reflect on the progress. And for me, being able to kind of be an outsider, having seen them through the whole journey, most of the time we find oh my God, no, actually so much has changed. And it just takes a little bit of looking back and reflecting to see that, which I find to be really helpful. But I've written a lot in preparation for this episode, and I still don't think that I've captured everything that I want to say. And as I will get into, I think this place that I've been in my healing recently has been, I don't know, I don't like to put it as healing. It's I'm not I don't know, I guess I'm healing, but it's also just being, it's just a part of my life. And I think a lot of you guys can relate to this, just growing and reflecting on yourself and continuing to iterate and to try new perspectives and to make your life more easeful and joyful, ideally. It's just such a big part of my life. Healing seems not quite the word to capture it. It's not I'm take myself from broken to whole or to healed. I don't really know how to explain that. But anyway, whatever we want to call this journey that I'm on, I guess just being alive. Where I'm at right now, I've been in a really good place. I've been feeling a lot more contentment. I've been accessing a lot more feelings of joy, and getting to just kind of appreciate the moments that I'm in. And it's really amazing and wonderful. And I feel very, very grateful and very happy to be at this place, and very grateful to, my past therapist, Barb, and my current therapist, Vanessa, who are both such important people, have been so important in my life, obviously, as well as my friends and my family, who, I can't probably even describe or quantify how much they've taught me and helped me grow. Same with my partner. I feel very strongly about that. But I feel super, super grateful to be where I'm at. And I think a big part of it, that's kind of all been a culmination probably of a lot of different things I've been working on, and just years of therapy that's kind of now seem to coalesce and finally come together to really boost my self-confidence, my resiliency, and to really decrease my anxiety, which had gotten bad. And I've talked about this on the podcast before, got really bad through work too in the past couple of years. And in recent history, in the past month or so, just feels like I kind of have like shot forward finally. I describe it as like a slingshot a lot. I think doing this kind of work can feel like you are like a rubber band and you're moving forward and moving forward. You're pulling that rubber band further and further and further by working on all this stuff and by making positive changes in your life. But it can still feel like the other part of the rubber band is back in the past, some past version of you or something. And it's just getting held there. There's like a finger that's just holding it in the past, even though you keep moving forward. And I find that there's times where it just kind of slingshots forward. Finally, something releases. The rest of the rubber band snaps forward and catches up with where you are and where you have been for a long time. But now it kind of moves from that place of knowing, like knowing in your head and learning and growing in that way, to a full embodied sense. You know, it's like knowledge versus knowing inside of you. That's what it feels like to me, where it just becomes more effortless. You're not having to think about things, remind yourself, practice really intentionally. It just kind of becomes a new natural state of being and a new foundation that then you grow from. And you kind of start the process over again, but instead of the rubber band getting held back at point A, now it's getting held at point B. And you're growing from there, and maybe it's, you know, one step forward, two steps back. It's a spiral, but you're now at a new baseline or starting point, if that makes sense. So I feel that way. I feel like the rubber band has kind of snapped forward. This is another time in my life where I have this kind of quantum leap sense. And a lot of it, it really does surround us, insecurity, self-doubt, and then the inverse of that, feeling more confident, more secure in myself, having a belief that I can really handle things, that's enabled me to have a lot more faith and take leaps in my life that I've been wanting to take, and also to not feel so anxious and fearful all of the time. And I feel like that's just so many of you guys out there listening, so many people that I talk to, we're all kind of in that boat. And so I'm hoping through sharing kind of what has been occurring to me recently, maybe it increases that knowledge that you can have. And then at some point, the knowing will catch up. My therapist kind of deemed it a revelation that I'm having. And I think that's a really good way to put it. It's just a lot of realizations, kind of almost when those cliches that we always hear growing up, when they actually start to like hit, when you're like, wait, hold on, you know, don't take things personally. That actually like hits now. Like, yeah, I don't need to take things personally. Or believe in yourself. Like, just remember like who the fuck you are. When you're doubting yourself, just remember, you know, who you are, what you've been through. Believe in yourself, like have faith. When you're like, wait, yeah, totally. Period. I get that. You know, that's kind of what I'm talking about and feeling with these revelations. It's like I'm saying really basic stuff. I think I will probably say a lot of basic stuff in this episode, but it can take on this new life and this new understanding of like, oh my God, yes, it is that embodied knowing that I'm referring to. So that part is up to you. All I can do here is share my knowledge and maybe try to share it in a way that is a little bit different than what you normally hear, so it can hit on something else for you possibly, or maybe stick with you in a new way. But the knowing part, that is up to you and your path and where you are on it, and also probably up to the universe, because there's a lot of mystery to these things. What I'm really getting down into is insecurity and its accompanying fear and anxiety. I don't feel like I'm always super great at labeling things. Like what I call insecurity, maybe you would call by a different name. I just don't think that's like my strong suit. A word just pops into my head and then I just go with it, even if maybe what I'm talking about could be described in other ways. But the essence that I'm speaking about that I feel has changed a lot, my relationship to it has changed a lot, is an internal shrinking sensation that tells you to be smaller, that you said something wrong, that you did something weird, that you don't fit in, or that you aren't accepted for who you are. And it creates this shrinking down, tightness, anxiousness inside of your body. It's the nudge from a fear place to either hide or mutate to be more like others or what you think others want in order to feel loved, accepted, worthy, seen, etc. And when we get that feeling, we can second guess or caveat, say too much, people please, lie, fake, or spend a lot of energy trying to be something that you're not in order to avoid criticism, judgment, or being ostracized. And to me, insecurity doesn't inherently just come from inside of you. It's not in a vacuum. It's because we exist in relationship to other people. And we can grow up with a sense that our worth, our lovability, not being abandoned, all these things that we're so afraid of, that exists in other people and that other people can give us that. So we need to be accepted by them to get it. And so insecurity to me is inherently built in relationships, and we're wounded in those relationships. And so we can find that a lot of our fixation, our rumination that makes us feel insecure comes from projecting out onto other people or monitoring other people for how much we are fitting in or being understood, or how much we perceive we're being judged or not judged by others. And this can be really insidious in how much it can inform the decisions we make or the overthinking of those decisions. Comparing ourselves, putting ourselves down, or trying to inflate ourselves from a place of insecurity. So the first thought I had that really started the gears turning, that then kind of led into a cascade over the last month or so of realizations. The first was that people will always judge. People will always form an opinion about you. Good, bad, neutral. Most likely it will change. It will be good on some things, bad on others. It will go up and down. You could survey a crowd of 100 people and there would be a mix of perceptions about you. And admiration and acceptance, or even understanding from other people, is a really fickle thing. And it is a fickle thing to base our decisions on, my decisions about my life. And also, everyone has their own stuff. So even their perceptions of you are not really you. It is most likely filtered through their own stuff and their perceptions of themselves and their fears and their insecurities and what they believe is what you should do with your life or not. There's so much that plays into all of that. And we don't get any control of that. That's the lie that people pleasing tries to tell us, is that somehow you can control how others perceive you. And reliably, no. And it requires you, me, us, to twist up into such a fucking pretzel. It's not even worth it to even just get a fleeting moment of feeling like you're controlling someone's perception and that it's good perception of you. It's just so fickle. And so I thought to myself, why the fuck am I changing myself? Am I basing my decisions off of either someone's perception or my fear and projection of what their perception of me might be? So, I am going to be taking a sabbatical from work in about a month from now. And when I first had this idea, because I'm going to be spending the time to travel, I felt really called to it. It just, at this point in my life, I am lucky enough to have the ability to do that, and just really was calling to me to be able to take a step back and travel and explore other parts of myself. And when that idea first came up, my first obstacle, first of many, was how my therapy clients would feel about that. I felt really bad. Like, that's not something I'm supposed to do, and I might upset them, or I might lose my clients. People won't stick it out. Ooh, there comes some of that I'm not good enough bubbling up. They'll take their first chance to get out, and then I won't have clients, or, when I come back. And that's where this idea started percolating, which is one that I severely needed to alleviate my anxiety and some of my imposter syndrome with working as a therapist, which is you cannot control other people's experience of you. And this also leads me to the second point that rapidly followed the first one, which is I am me. I will never not be me. So I might as well embrace it. Because even when I'm trying not to be me, I'm still me trying not to be me. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's no escaping it. I am Hayden through and through, even when I am faking or trying to not be Hayden. And I'm trying to emulate this girl over here, that girl over there. It's still me trying to emulate them. I will never be them. So here's where I come in and say, I told you, I'm going to be saying some basic shit. We've all heard this before. But it hit on a deeper level. Like, wait, specifically in my work, I am not all these other therapists that I look up to, that I think know what they're doing more, that I think can help people better. I never will be. Diana Fosha, one of my mentors, I'm never going to be her. I will never practice therapy in the way that she does. And so the more I can embrace me, my specific flavor, what I specifically have to offer to the world, understanding that it is my limited perspective and lens that I have just because that's all I can have. I've had one life experience. It informs the way that I view the world. One, it just saves me a lot of energy. And also, it is valuable. And even if you're struggling with the idea that your specific lens and perspective and who you are is valuable, maybe you can at least agree with me that it's your only option. We don't get to try on different lenses. We don't actually get to walk in somebody else's shoes. Maybe if I could literally put on someone else's shoes, I guess I should say metaphorically put on someone else's shoes and experience life as them, I might find that it is radically different. They notice things I have never noticed. They don't notice things that are painfully obvious to me. Maybe I would find that. But I can't do that. And so I might as well embrace me and my unique perspective and experience of the world and what I can bring to it through that. And all we can do to find our path is to focus on what resonates at a given time. So when it comes to insecurity and a lot of that, overthinking or doubt, needing to get reassurance from other people that we're doing the right thing, that can always lead us astray. That doesn't guarantee any better outcomes or choices in life. Versus the antidote, I think, which is following what resonates at a given time. What feels better to you? And if you don't know what feels better, if you don't know what resonates, there's other episodes out there, there's other practices out there for you. And we can get into that later. And if you have a question about it, reach out and ask me. But you most likely know already what you want and what you want to do. For most of us, I think that's the case. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of brushing the dust away to get connected. But a lot of times we know what we want. It's just the insecurity and the fear of rejection, of loss of relationships, judgment, whatever, that obfuscates it and makes us feel unclear. But the thing is, we only get one path. And just going with what resonates, what feels okay in the moment, even if we change our mind after, that's like all we really have to go off of. And it can be very liberating. It was very liberating for me to be like, hold on. I'm so afraid of regrets. Like, well, I don't know if that's a way to put it. I feel like I look back on past versions of myself and I like cringe. Like, I'm one of those people that just like kind of cringes and I'm like, why did I like that? Why did I do that? I should have known better. I was naive, whatever. And so I get really afraid of that. Like, even putting out this podcast, like, am I going to look back and be like, why did I say that? Like, I don't even believe that anymore. But the thing is, I can't make my decisions based off of trying to never regret or feel embarrassed or change my mind. And that was really liberating. Like, oh my God, I'm just me. And I'm just like learning and growing as I go. I can't have hindsight before, I can't have preemptive hindsight and understand how to make choices that I never look back on and go, what the hell was that? And so this idea is very freeing to me. And I started to play with it a little bit more. Like, people will always judge and I can only be me. So like, I might as well embrace it because I have spent a lot of time and energy kind of half in, half out. And girl, just dive in. And so as I played with this idea, an example, it kind of started from a place of curiosity. Like, what would happen if I like didn't care or didn't feel insecure about the things that I normally feel insecure about? And I started noticing how often fearing what other people would think was controlling the decisions I wanted to make, from small to very big. And recently I was at a friend's birthday party, and normally like big social things like that where I don't really know a lot of the people, like it's just very draining to me. And I end up feeling like I leave and it's like, it feels like my face is tight and I've kind of been holding it in this like unnatural way. And I don't know, I just wanted to try to do this one different. And so just throughout the night, I would recognize, like I would ask myself the question, like, wait, hold on. What if I don't have to care about blank? So an example is like, I was sitting at a table with a couple people who I don't know very well, and I wanted to ask them a question. I really like this show, Subway Takes. If you guys are familiar, on YouTube, so great. But people share like their hot takes. And I wanted to just ask these people like what their Subway take would be. This seems really minor, but in my head, I kind of thought, well, maybe they don't know what that show is. And like, maybe it's going to be kind of weird to ask them this question or just to kind of interject here. And then I had that thought, just completely non-judgmental awareness pop up that was like, I don't have to care about that. Because they will have their perception of me and I don't get to control it. So I don't actually have to care whether they think this is weird or not. I'll just ask. And so I did. And it was like totally fine. And I don't know, some of them like seemed to get it. A couple of them seemed like they didn't really understand what I was asking. Okay, whatever. I felt so much less drained leaving this because I felt like I could actually inhabit myself. I could like live within my body and my skin and my being and just act from that place. So there's another piece that I think helps strengthen and embolden me to be able to really believe the first 2 points. Because yeah, like I said, we hear this, be yourself and don't worry about what people think about you. Cool, thanks. But what actually enables me to trust that, get curious with it, to practice just existing and being who I am. And to me, it is what people talk about when they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. When I look back and remember the hard things that I've gone through in my life and see what I can handle and how I can be okay again and get through it, that became a springboard to free myself from the insecurity and the fear that ruled my life. Which I say, like, completely freed me from it. Am I free from insecurity? No, I was literally feeling insecure before recording this episode this morning, which made it even more relevant for me to talk about, because I was like, this is a process. Like, even though I now have, I feel like, a new foundation to stand on, where I've actually gotten to, from a embodied sense, have experience of just trusting and being myself and seeing that it actually feels really good, doesn't mean that things don't fluctuate. And so, that being said, I'm able to more quickly go back to, wait, I can handle this stuff. I have handled hard things in the past. I don't have to be afraid all of the time. What will happen if? What if I make the wrong choice? What if I say the wrong thing? What if I am weird? What if I don't know what I'm doing? What if I get hurt? It is so powerful to really reflect back on hardship that you have had in your life and see how strong you actually are. And to me, sometimes this looks like remembering who the fuck I am. Again, cheesy. Before, that would have meant nothing to me most of the time. But there is this awareness of, wow, the way that I talk to myself about me and what I believe I'm capable of really makes a difference. Even if I'm like not sure how something's gonna go, I can at least remember that I will get through the worst. Like, and I say remember because I have. You know, the worst is subjective, obviously. And I have definitely not been through the level of hardship that some people face in their life. But still, this is so hard for me to describe, and I hope it's coming across, but it's like there can be this deeper sense. Like, yes, I know I have not faced the worst, and there will be other things in my life that are harder than anything I have gone through so far. And I think this is a really personal process. I now understand there is a foundation, ground underneath my feet, that will be there even through whatever I fear that may or may not come to pass. I think for some people this looks like religious or spiritual beliefs, an understanding of life and what we think the purpose of it is. Like, I think a lot of this is rooted in bigger beliefs that really help us feel that ground under our feet. But when I have this and I think about the way that I'm talking to myself and how I'm building things up to be a lot scarier, a lot harder, or like I'm not capable and all those things that an insecure critical voice likes to say, I was just filled with dread all the time. And the insecure voice and its roots that were in my personal fears and wounds would plant a seed of doubt that maybe I'm actually not capable. And that would lead me to dread even exciting opportunities. And so this is what I mean with like just even bringing a level of curiosity, even if there's not like total belief or understanding yet, there's like a curiosity, like, when I'm dreading something, like I had to go to a meeting with my dad recently, like this random meeting. It was like something I'd never done before. And I was kind of noticing like, wait, I'm not feeling nervous about this. Why am I not feeling nervous? I would normally be anxious. And another thought came in that was like, well, why would I be anxious? What is the worst that could happen? Like, I'm going to be okay. Even if this meeting goes terribly and I bomb, that's okay. It's not going to kill me. Yeah. So, hopefully we're following. This is a little bit more kind of piecemeal and stream of consciousness. But I think these three main points that I'm saying, kind of like remembering who the fuck you are and what you've been through, kind of having that bedrock, that foundation, whatever that looks like for you, what okay means for you. And then understanding that trying to control other people's perceptions of you, it's a futile mission. People will always have judgments. People always have opinions. And you can only be yourself. So you might as well lean in. You know, I think it kind of creates this triangle that has really, really helped liberate me from a good deal of chronic anxiety and fear. And I feel so passionate and so excited even to push myself to kind of talk about this while I'm in process, why it's very alive for me, while I don't feel like I have the best words to describe it, because I feel so passionate for anybody listening to even maybe just get a glimpse into the way that you may be holding yourself back or foregoing something that feels really important to you, or making even the smallest of decisions in service of other people that it's exhausting you, it's draining you, it's killing you to have to do that all the time. And to say there is a different way to even just play with some of the ideas that I have shared today. If something does stick out to you, if I said something in a way that you do want to carry it with you. Because again, going back to the sabbatical that I'm taking, there was so much doubt and fear that could have gotten in the way of something that I felt very called to do. One of the biggest things that I noticed was the fear that others would judge me. And so much, even out of all the logistical elements of doing something like this and planning this travel and this trip that I'm going to be going on, that fear that other people would judge me or not understand or think some way about me that didn't feel reflective of how I think about myself and who I think I am. The idea that that could happen was the thing that was the most likely to stop me. And what a waste that would be. When I know who I am, I don't have to spend so much time and energy trying to convince or show everyone else, make them believe and agree with who I think I am. And again, like I said, this just opened my eyes up to how much of my life that I might feel called to do, or you might feel called to do, that we ignore out of that insecurity and fear. So for me, I'm asking myself more often, do I have to fear this? Do I have to worry about this? If things do go wrong, or I'm judged, or I lose friendships, or someone misunderstands me, I can face it. That's about all I have. Please, on this one, if you're a silent listener, silent viewer, whatever, if there's a time where you will comment or engage or reflect back to me, I would love for it to be this episode. I hope something feels like it resonates for you. And if it sparked off a new idea or thought, please share it with me. And share this episode with a friend if that feels helpful. Spread the love around. As I said, I will be taking a break for my sabbatical. I'll be taking a break from the podcast as well. I may be back a little bit sooner though than you think for a special 100th episode. And follow along. That's the easiest way to not miss anything. I'm not 100% sure when I'll be back with new episodes, but I know I'll be back. And so just following is the easy way to just make sure it pops up for you. And if you find me over on Instagram and TikTok, that's another good way to keep up with me at the Evergreen RX. Thank you guys so much for being here and for your support, whether that's been for all 5 seasons or just one, or maybe even just one episode. I really appreciate it. And if you want to take a second to rate this podcast, that's a nice little boost for me and makes me feel good. And I would really appreciate it. So thank you so much again for your support. If you have a question you'd like to hear me answer on the next season, reach out to me at theevergreenrx@gmail.com or text me or call me at 512-655 9888. Take care of yourself. Believe in yourself. Do what feels right. Follow what resonates. And I will catch you guys in the future.